Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Contour Community Meeting. Today is September 1st, 2020, 1st of September. Getting a little chillier, which is good for those that like it. Um, I'm going to start off with some news here. I think, Nick, you got the first portion here.
I do. I'm just adding a link to the. Let me finish doing that. There you go. That's now a link. Could you click that open for me? So Matt Moore from Knative has found a performance slowdown under heavy churn that looks like it's always there, but it's only really noticeable. It's massively noticeable under heavy churn. Yeah, he's found what appears to be most of a fix. There's a second fix that we'll bring in as well. There's PR there that looks good to me and James. So once we've got those, I think we've merged that one now. Once we've got the two fixes merged into master, I am proposing that we cherry pick those back to the release 1.8 branch and cut a release 1.8.1. I suspect that we've had some other reports of weird problems where sometimes the status the status doesn't update and things take a long time to converge. This performance problem is because the way that we do status at the moment blocks on the status update actually being applied to the API server. And so if there's a lot of status updates, you can hit the API server rate limit, which means that then the DAG updates cannot complete until the API server status updates drain. And so there's a fix here where Matt's fix that he's PR'd in is that we check the lister cache to make sure we've got the most recent version of the object before we try and update it, which massively cuts the number of updates that are attempted. And then the other thing to do is to make a channel unbuffered so that we're not blocking in the DAG on that sort of thing. So they're pretty small patches. I think it should be not a big deal. So I just wanted to socialize that and give everyone a chance to say, no, please don't do an extra performance release. I doubt that will happen, but over to everyone for your thoughts.
It seems reasonable to me. I'm not exactly sure what the channel change looks like, but I did review the PR that Matt put up around using the listers, and that looks good to me.
Yeah, so the channel.
Sorry, Nick. I was going to say, whoever merges this, can you touch up the commit message subject as you squash it, please?
Yeah, so it's actually not this. It's not this PR. There's a second one that is much smaller. It's right down the bottom. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Yeah, I will merge that and I'll the LGTM and merge it and fix up the commit message. Yeah, and then I will PR in I'll PR in the change to the channel. It's literally there's one spot where we actually make that channel, Steve, and it's just changing the make call to add a channel capacity. That's all.
Do you want to talk to Jesse and see if we can run run the patch build internally as well? Because I think it'll fix some of their problems.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. So I don't know if you heard James, but I proposed that we actually cut our 1.8.1 with these two fixes included.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
Well, there's one fix. There's only one fix, right?
So the second fix will be making the channel unbuffered.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
So buffered, not unbuffered. Yeah. Yeah. So I will PR that in this morning, and then once those are in and we go through the cherry picking motions, then I'll push the steps to cut 1.8.1 and send some details to you, Jonas, once it's done.
Sounds
cool.
Good.
Okay, well, that's that item. I think we're on to what have we been working on?
Yep. Steve, Chris.
Yeah, I just threw my recent PR under this refactoring bullet. I know other folks have been working on refactoring as well, but I've been working on taking some of the work that stevesloka started around refactoring the code that does DAG building from the contour or ingress APIs. So basically starting to separate things out to be a little bit more modular. So this is kind of the first PR for that. And if you're interested, you can read through the details and see what some of the follow-up areas are. But yeah, that's about it. That got merged this morning.
Nice. Any questions, comments on this one? All right. Let's move to stevesloka.
Yeah, so someone reported an issue with external names, and I did some work today on that. I think it might be a regression where it doesn't work. So this is where you have an external name, and you want to route, through Contour, through Envoy out to some external resource. So I think what I found is that the header rewrite is not happening at this point. So something to poke into, just something I haven't fully written a test against it to prove it, but it's it looks like it's not working.
Okay, well, in that case, we need to fix that too. So I'll hold off on doing any one release, Steve, until you get to the bottom of that.
Okay, I know Matt Moore actually also asked a question about this as well, so it may be similar to the same issue.
Yeah.
So that's all. Nothing else to do. I just was calling it out that if someone else is poking with this at this point, that it still may be broken.
Thanks, Steve. I think next up, John. You're muted.
Yeah, so my update was to add the anchor link to the website using anchor.js. So you just need to move your mouse onto the headers. It will show you a clickable link. You can obtain a link from the icon. Yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you did that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I can't thank you enough as well. The number of times when I have had to go to view source for the FAQ page to pull the FAQ about the 421s, because it's quite a long question and that's the header, is much greater than 0. So I really appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much. I'll most likely add this to a bunch of other sites that need it as well. So thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you.
James, you want to talk about where you're at, or?
Sure. I'm mainly working on the next step in auth, which is getting the extension service CID working. So the extension service CID basically builds a Envoy cluster, and that Envoy cluster will then be a target for the external authorization filter. So I have basic code for that. I expect to land a draft PR for that in the next, maybe today or tomorrow.
Awesome. For me, I've been reviewing PRs, doing gardening, and I spent some time yesterday having a look into moving that channel that we're going to change to buffered to instead use one of the Kubernetes client Go work queue isms. It doesn't look like it'll work very easily with the pattern that we've got at the moment, and we think the pattern that we've got at the moment is there for good reasons, so we probably won't do that, which always sucks. But yeah, so that's mainly what I'll be working on. Not a lot of code contributions from me at the moment. Does anyone else have anything that they have been working on or want to discuss? We've got a pretty light agenda today, so we've got some time.
So I got a small one. So for Contour, let me just pull this up here. So for Contour, we did a CII best practices badge a little while ago, and we're at passing grade, and there are 2 other levels above it, so silver and gold. And I was just wondering if you wanted to kind of start looking into what silver would look like. When you start looking into it, we already have a lot of the things in place. And it could be just a few hints essentially on how to make sure that we well, make the project adhere to even better practices. Many of them are already in there, like have a code of conduct. Do you have a roadmap? Things like that that has been in there for quite some time already. So I was just wondering if you wanted me to start looking into this and see if we can raise the bar a little.
Yes, for me.
All right. Cool. I'll do that. So I worked with Steve, Chris, and Sloka before. Do you want to work on that together again?
Yeah, I can help out too.
Cool. Awesome. That sounds great. I'll do that, and I'll add that to the notes here as well.
Awesome. Well, that's all of our current business. I guess the question that I would like to ask is, does anybody have any issues that need addressing, or that we haven't looked at for a while, or are there any pressing concerns that people would like to look at? No?
Doesn't look like it.
Lazy consensus says no. Okay, well, I think at this point we might give everyone 16 minutes back or 15 minutes back, and call the meeting there. As always, if you've got anything you need to ask us, please contact us on Slack or raise an issue.
Sounds good. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.